the hustler story cuts across Kenya. It is not about a community. It is not about a region. The people we are talking about jobs is across Kenya. The hustlers, we are trying to get them to do business is across Kenya. And that is the competition that's going to be there in 2022. Our competitors on the other side are telling us the problem is the constitution. The problem is ethnic arrangement, that you want everybody in government, you know? Those are things I don't believe in as a person. I believe the strength of any government is a vibrant opposition that tells government when it goes wrong. I don't believe there is a problem with our constitution. And I have no quarrel with whatever changes are being proposed. But it is not true that that is the problem we have. When we came into office in 2013, the whole program of Ways of Fund was actually part of a program that we wanted to roll out where we would support small businesses that require 10,000 shillings, 20,000 shillings, 50,000 shillings, 100,000 shillings, very small enterprises using government money that do not, people who don't have collateral, people who do not have tall friends who can stand in as guarantors for them. And we have a government program called that works on group guarantees, you know, and we have tested that project and program, and it works. So next year, God willing, we should be able to scale up financing for small enterprises. And my intention is that we should be able to put as much money as we are putting in CDF. We are putting 100 million plus in CDF for every constituency. We should be able to put 100 million, a similar amount, 100 million plus every constituency to support small scale enterprises and to build enterprises from the bottom. And therein comes the bottom-up model or economic model. I have had a long discussion with many experts, and David D will bear me witness, on how we need to rethink about universal health coverage. You guys know how health can be a very expensive exercise. In fact, health is amongst the reason many families are impoverished. When their loved ones go to hospital and the bills come in hundreds of thousands and millions, people sell all manner of things because health is important. People sell property, sell livestock, sell all the savings. And so we need to sort out. At the moment, we have a big problem with the labor that is exported. We are exporting house helps, you know? And that's a real problem, because in there, we have so many people who are mishandled because house helps have no skills. Instead of exporting house helps, we should be exporting skilled labor. Plumbers are paid very well anywhere in the world. Yeah, and that is why we are targeting TVET, so that even as we export labor, we are exporting labor that is properly skilled and trained. The diaspora, 340 billion shillings, is part of why we must target, because that money must go, part of it, we must create products for you to invest. Create products in healthcare, create products in NSSF, create products in investment, where you can invest that money and get a good return. Many of you guys live in countries where even if you put your money in the bank, you will get up 1%, maybe 0.5%, maybe 2%.
That's right.
We can give you 7%. You know, we should have products that you can invest in your own country. In any case, we are borrowing from the Euro bond, for example, is at 7%, 8%. Why don't we have a product where our own people can earn that 7% or 8% instead of them keeping money in the US or in Europe, where I'm told even some other countries like Japan, if you take your money to the bank, you pay to keep money in the bank. It's negative. You know, the interest rate is negative, which means they deduct some of the money for you to have the money in the bank. So these are the products we must develop with the diaspora. And I believe that we should have a minister of state, either in Treasury or in the presidency, to take charge of diaspora affairs. That is my position. Because diaspora gives us 340 billion. We have a ministry of devolution, for example, whose responsibility is how we spend the 340 billion we give to counties. If we have a minister responsible for devolution, which is spending money, why don't we have a minister for a group that gives us 340 billion shillings? We must, as a matter of urgency, implement the plan that would create jobs in Kenya. We must, as a matter of urgency, provide a government program working with the private sector that would put resources in the hands of Kenyans to do business, grow small, ordinary businesses from the bottom. The more people who work, the more people who do business, the more savings we have, we will progressively generate enough taxes and enough savings to be able to finance our development, and we will progressively begin to address the big elephant in the room at the moment in Kenya, the elephant of debt. We will begin to address it. And unless we do that, and that's why I'm saying it's urgent, I am sorry, we will have a problem.
The idea of the hustler nation and the bottom-up model is very clear. You can see that Kenyans are already waiting. In fact, they are ahead of us, as both yourself and Dr. David Ndii indicated, that they are waiting on the fringes of the economy. They are knocking at the door of the national economy, waiting for inclusion. But the models, structures, and policies that we have in place try to farm them out there, to lock them out firmly. And their effort gets further frustration out of deliberately distorted and even malicious propaganda against the bottom-up model. If you were to take a quick drive around Nairobi, you would see that the frontage of the entire Nairobi has got the face of the hustlers. You can put up a brand new supermarket edified somewhere. Within a few days, you'll find that the hustlers have taken up the entire frontage. There are kiosks mushrooming. There are people who are trying to sell bananas. There are people who are trying to do their shoes. They are trying to do second-hand clothes. It doesn't matter where it is, you will find that the hustlers are there knocking at the door. The mama mbogas are there knocking at the door. And as Dr. David Ndii explained rather clearly, we criminalize them. We criminalize that enterprise. The sad thing, of course, being that you cannot criminalize and exclude them forever, because they start coming almost like a tidal wave. If you go to the city center of Nairobi, you will now find that the big shops that used to be owned and run by Asian Dukawalas have been taken over by the hustler nation. They have been subdivided into little kiosks, little tables, and the people who used to work there have had to find themselves on the margins of the city in the fullness of time, even where they have gone. For example, there are those who went to high ridge places that you call Diamond Plaza. You get there today, you find the hustlers at the frontage. You go to even places that have been thought to be the exclusive preserves and residential areas of the high and mighty. They have been taken. So the hustlers are there, they are knocking, they are saying, make space for us, regularize us, include us in this economy. We want to be part of it, whether it's through the cooperative model, whether it's through selling of my milk at the dairy and getting paid at the end of the month, whether it is through my farm produce. So we need platforms of communications that are going to enable all of us to reposition this conversation, that it's not sounding like some aberration.
So what we must do as leaders is we must have the right attitude to be able to forge our country forward. Your Excellency, let me thank you for the dialogue that you have begun of the bottom-up economy. Some of the challenges that we face today, we will need the expertise of people like Professor Ndii to be able to make your dream for a better Kenya possible. And I want to thank you that you have thought about the diaspora. We have supported His Rightful Honorable Raila Odinga in 2006. We have supported yourself and the president in these past few years. But the diaspora continue to be left outside. The diaspora agenda has not been addressed, Your Excellency. Because the team that you look at today here, this is a team of expertise, talents, big minds, who can be able to transform our country when equipped with the right resources. Some of these things are administrative. And once we understand them, the question you asked is that what is the way forward for diaspora engagement in terms of housing programs, affordable insurance, economic blueprint, and farming and all that stuff? My action points that maybe a point or two I could have given is, number one, begin by diaspora representation. We could begin by diaspora representation in the office of the Deputy President as we work our way into finding a CS to work on the diaspora. Secondly, I would have proposed that we have this segment, say housing program, that we take in 2 weeks, we have a meeting just to entirely talk about and address the issue of housing and how diaspora is going to be engaged. The other 2 weeks, so that we can exhaustively address